show you how to give formal proof in which we show that this sentence down here follows from these three sentences called the premises. And I'm doing this in a very ingenious system called Fitch, which was developed by some people at Stanford University. Actually, my dissertation advisor was involved in the early versions of developing this system. And so it enables you, it's kind of a proof checker, enables you to write proofs and make sure that you follow the rules. And again, the only rules that we're allowed to follow here right now are the ones that we have seen earlier. So I have them up here because I want to refer back to them ever so often. So how do we do this thing? Well, we want to show this one over here, and we have this stuff. And so I'm going to give the proof backwards. I'm going to be introducing things that we need to establish in order to continue with the proof. So we need to establish that if not cube A, then small b. And so what do we have over here? Do I have it somewhere over here already? No, I do not. The only thing I have with small b is this one over here. So we may have to use this rule here at some point in time. But notice that I cannot establish this thing because it's not written down and doesn't show up somewhere on the right side. So the only thing I can do then is, if I want to establish this thing, I have to use the rule of the conditional introduction. So I have to give a subproof, I have to assume P, and then show Q, and if I can do that, I can write down P implies Q. So let's do that. And so I'm going to move down a little bit, and then I'm going to add a step afterwards, and I'm going to start a new subproof. And so in it, I'm going to write down not cube A, and then let's see, after I want to write down small b, and then I want to a new step, I want to end the subproof. And so now what I want to write down, not cube A implies small b. So notice that I can now cite this rule of implication introduction, and I'm going to cite this subproof over here, and let me see whether it goes through. So I can verify my proof and says, ta-da! This rule applies given this one over here. Now notice it also says, hello, you haven't established this one here over yet because I don't know how you got to this thing over here. So as you might gather, we are not done yet. So let me get a new line between these two. So I need to sort of do something here, right? I need to get from not cube A to small b. Okay, well, how can we do that? Well, I can establish small b if I knew cube B implies small c. Well, do we have cube B implies small c somewhere over here? Not here, not here. So guess what we have to do? We again have to establish a conditional. So we're going to do another subproof. New subproof, cube B, step after, what we want, small c. Okay, so now let me get another step. Let me end the subproof. And so now what I could write down is I could write down cube B implies small c. Cube B implies small c. All right, again, based on this subproof, let's make sure we understand that this works. And let's verify the proof. Ta-da, this works. Now, how do we establish this one over here? So we have cube B implies small c. And we have this one over here, cube B implies small c implies small b. So I'm going to use the elimination rule this time, so modus ponens. We're going to eliminate this one over here based on the preconditions. So I'm going to cite this one here and this one over here. Now notice this one matches the precondition over here. So let's verify the proof. Ta-da! I get 3 check marks now. So now let me go back up over here, get me a new line over here. So now I have to establish small c somehow. Now notice I can install, do that based, if I knew that tet c is the case, then I can establish small c. Okay, so how do I do that? If I knew that QB were to be true, then yes, I could establish tet c. Okay. Well, we kind of know that it's true over here, so we sort of have to get at this portion over here, right? I know QB is true, and so I can infer tet c, and then from tet c I can get to small c. All right, so how are we going to do that? Well, unfortunately, this QB implies tet c is part of this OR, right? We need to get rid of the OR, think OR elimination. So we're going to do a proof by cases, and now all the fun is going to start. So OR elimination, we have an OR, and we have to give 2 separate subproofs that we want to write something down for. So let's do that. And so we're going to do, we're going to have a new subproof. And in one of them, I'm going to have cube A. And I do a step afterwards. In the subproof, I have a new subproof. And over here, I write down cube B implies tet C. Okay, step afterwards. So what do I want to derive in this thing? Well, I want to write down, what do I need to find? Small c, right? So in both cases, I need to establish small c. And hopefully your vision is really good. So I'm going to decrease the font size a little bit so that we can see this all in one fell swoop. So unfortunately, I guess it only lets me do that for stuff I can select, and I cannot select anything right now. Don't want to mess with too many things here, so let's just sort of leave it at that. Okay, so cube A, and I want to establish small c, and over here I want to establish small c. So in both cases I want to do that. It's too bad I can't make that. Oh, there we go. Make this a little bit smaller. So I want to write down small c over here, small c, and then I want to write down small c over here, small c. So now notice that based on cube A as well as cube B or tet C implies tet C, and this one over here, I've shown in both cases hopefully that small c exists, can be established. So I can now go down here and use the rule OR elimination. OR elimination, I quote this subproof, I quote this subproof, and I quote this OR. And things should work out for us just peachy. And they do. Except now we need to establish that this one holds, and we need to establish that this one holds. So hopefully you let me do this one first, because this one is so much fun. How can we derive small c from cube A? Well, there's nothing over here that lets us do that, right? I mean, cube A is just like, yeah, that's true, or this stuff is true, I don't really know what, right? So what can we do? Aha! Our good old friend, contradiction. Notice I have assumed not cube A, and assumed cube B, and I assumed cube A, and obviously I made a mistake. I shouldn't assume cube A and not cube A. That's a really bad idea, but I did, and so I get something out of it. So I introduce this contradiction, I cite this one, and verify my proof, ta-da, I get that thing. So now let's move down. Since we have a contradiction, we can write down anything. So we do the contradiction elimination, we cite this one over here, verify our proof, ta-da, we're done with this one. So I love that thing. Now let's go down here, let's do a little bit of work. We have cube B implies tet C. Now notice we have a cube B over here. Are you getting the hang of this stuff? Now this is pretty cool stuff. So even without thinking about this, we can do things. We just manipulate symbols. We know what we need to prove, and we sort of like see, what do we have? Okay, I have this and that. What are some of the preconditions that I have? And so like some of the premises I have, and we just use them systematically. So tet C, that is modus ponens. So we eliminate the implication, cube this, let's verify our proof, ta-da. And so down here, we have tet c and we have small c. And again, we'll use error elimination again. We quote this one here, which one? And this one over here. And let's see, where are we? Verify proof. So notice that everything is now verified. There are no question marks, as well as the goal is verified. So we have done this thing simply with symbol manipulation, something a computer can do. We didn't think about, oh, agonize, ooh, is B really a cube? Ooh, is C small or is it tall? No, didn't even think about it. Now, some of you may have sort of like reasoned about this thing, so I say, does this actually make sense? I mean, does this follow? I mean, this thing over here from there, and you can do that. You can sort of like reason about it, right? But we just used inference. We just used syntax and symbol manipulation, something a computer can do. And again, the first planners, they came out of Stanford. Actually, I think they came out of Stanford by a person named Green. They used theorem provers to do planning. The tricky thing with theorem provers is, which is, in this case, I was a theorem prover, or we were the theorem provers, is it's very hard to give them direction. So the writing heuristics are really, really hard to write because the heuristics cannot appeal to knowledge about the domain. Think about the shortest path distance as the crow flies for a planner. The Manhattan distance, that's a great heuristic. It's very goal-directed. It has to do something with the domain. It has to do with distances, right? But over here, we just don't have any information about the domain, so we have to appeal to syntactic properties of our well-formed formula. And typically, there are several heuristics that people use, and some of them is you don't want to create arbitrary large ones, sentences, because you can do cube B or cube C or cube D or cube A, or you can do cube B and cube B and cube B and cube B and cube A and cube B, blah blah. You can make these really long formula, right? So some of the heuristics also involve, like we did, always so like try to do something with the conclusion that you want to show. So that's what we did, right? And so we always did something with that. We actually, that's all like the heuristic we did. We always say, okay, what do we have to show next? We have something. What can we do to show that? And we sort of like try different rules. Well, I tried different rules, and so like presented you with the optimal one. Alrighty, folks. We'll do another proof tomorrow when we have a look at predicate logic. If you want to get a hold of the systems, how about I post a link to it? It's a really cool system. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.